everyone. Thanks a lot for stopping by. If you can take a second, please subscribe to my channel and take another second and hit that like button. My name is Terry G, and thanks again for stopping by. Did you know that your childhood trauma could be hindering your recovery? Causing difficulties in your 12-step program and you don't even know it? Or your Smart Recovery program, or whatever program you choose on your journey of recovery. Did you know your childhood could be affecting that? A lot of us don't, right? Because we think that the programs that we're working should cure all or should be a solution to all our problems, especially 12-step programs and, Smart Recovery too, right? And if you're in a church group, should be the answer to all our problems. But they are the answer to the number one problem. Most of them help us stay sober. I've been in sobriety, I've been in recovery for many years, and the program I belong to has helped me maintain my sobriety for decades. But I've had one problem, or I shouldn't say one problem, a lot of problems in my recovery. And I look to the program to solve those problems, but I couldn't find the answer in those programs. I couldn't. And I'm not taking away anything about them. If you're sober and you're working a program and your life is going great, you may not need this video. But if you're having problems with personal flaws, character defects, the old demons coming up, you feel angry, you're feeling uneasy about yourself, you're not really feeling comfortable all the time, you're having problems in your relationships, you're having problems at work, you rage out on people, you're having a lot of issues managing your emotions, we think that it's us and our character defects and our character flaws. If we work hard enough at these programs and pray to God hard enough and get active hard enough and do all this stuff, that these things are going to go away. And sometimes they go away. I'm a lot better without looking into my childhood issues. When I was sober, I was a lot better. But I didn't have the full joy of freedom from my past or my character defects or my personal flaws until I went back and talked about childhood trauma. Beliefs that I had about myself, being in situations that I was being hit by the people looking after me, feeling fearful, have to get angry to defend myself at school 6, 7 years old. Adults around me making me feel like I'm responsible for the way they acted against me and I'm a child. So all these defensive mechanisms, all these coping mechanisms that I developed as a young boy till I was about 8 or 9 years old, it's my fault? No, it's not. And it's not your fault that you're like this. It's not. And I tell you that from the bottom of my heart. But I'm also going to tell you that this video is not saying that you need to blame parents or your caregiver or your teachers. It's not about that. It's not about pointing the fingers at people that cause harm to you and difficulties in your life. Because as long as we play the blame game or the victim game, we will never get better. We'll never get better. We need to take accountability and responsibility for our actions now. Right now as you speak. For myself, anger. People would talk to me and I start to feel threatened in relationships and I get angry at people. Because in my house, that's the way you developed, right? People would come at you, criticize you, make you feel angry, and everybody would respond in an angry way. So I developed one of those character defects, being angry, being a type of person that no one can really talk to. Or you may think it's I can't take criticism. And it's like that. So that's one of them I have. Another one is, I think it's all my fault that when there's a problem around in my relationships or was in my life, I don't think it that much anymore because I worked on it. But when I came into recovery, I believe that things are all my fault. If there was a problem at work or something wrong, I took on this big responsibility for the situation. Or I became a people pleaser. Or I learned how to control my environment to keep my emotions at bay, for I wouldn't lash out or I'd feel comfortable within my life, with myself in my life. I did all those things, and I continued to do all these coping mechanisms and all these strategies even in recovery. And I wondered why my character defects would always show their ugly head, or my personal flaws would show their ugly head, because I was working a program of recovery that was supposed to make me a better person. But these obstacles I had in my life wouldn't allow me to break free of myself. Wouldn't allow me. But I'm going to tell you something. Most of the problems that are happening to you in your recovery, especially if you're long-term recovery, such as low self-esteem, false pride, resentments against yourself, anger, feeling hurt, feeling like you don't belong, feeling that it's all your fault, feeling that you'll never succeed in your life, feeling that you're stupid. Did the secret for the solution come from? The freedom come from? Going back and talking about myself when I was a child. How did I see it? How did I feel? How did they treat me? And I can take those behaviors or those coping mechanisms when I was a young fella, and I can bring them up right to this age. I'm in my 60s now, and I can see how that carried on through my life. How I can see that. When I feel threatened, I lash out. When I lash out, I get about a depression or anxiety because I feel bad about myself. I can see where all those patterns came from. I can see it as clear as day. And I've been working on it a lot, not somewhat recently, a little bit more than usually, but for the last number of years, I've been working on it. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not your fault, but it takes a lot of courage to go back there and talk about things. It takes a lot of courage. It really does. So going back there and talking about your childhood, how you handle things when you're a child, I'm telling you, you are going to have a big awakening that you're going to see the way you handle things now have a lot to do with the way you were brought up. But the great thing about all this stuff that I'm talking about, when it comes to your recovery, when it comes to working your 12-step program, comes to working whatever program you're involved with, your program will explode. It'll explode because there's nothing more powerful than knowledge about oneself. And when I discovered knowledge about myself, I became more powerful as an individual. For me, my esteem come up. I see the world different. I feel better about myself, and I'm more able to accept responsibility for myself in a way that is really productive and is not harmful to myself. I hope you can get that part. Instead of feeling there's something wrong with me or self-hate, self-loathing, I was able to say, you know, Terry, you did that. You acted like that. But there's a reason you acted like that. It doesn't let me off the hook, but it makes me understand and have a softer view of my life. It's almost like I rewrote my past. So if you're experiencing these things and you think that you're in recovery and your character defects are coming out, you can't get a handle on things, you can't get a handle on your life, you don't see your life moving forward. And I'm not talking about material things. I'm talking about mainly in relationships, because that's where a lot of these defects will come out in personal relationships, either work relationships, loving relationships, relationships with your children, whatever it may be. But that's where a lot of it comes out in the relationship, because a lot of it is from the family of origin, from that family unit that we came from, how dysfunctional and crazy it was. We carry that with us, like it or not. Things that you are even thinking watching this video, you probably think are automatically as a part of your personality, but it's not. It's learned behavior that we can unlearn, or at least settle it down, quiet it down, for it's not affecting our lives, and we can go out there in the world feeling a new confidence and having a new awareness about the way we tick. And it's a fantastic thing. So Character defects and childhood trauma really play a big part. They're really connected in recovery programs. Kids are not responsible for themselves. You can't be, because we're powerless over it. We have these crazy adults, or maybe we have loving adults around us. Okay? Parents do the best they can. School teachers did the best they can. Everybody did the best they can, but we need to let them off the hook. This is a forgiving video. It's not a point the finger at our enemies or people who abused us when we were children. It's not about that, because that doesn't nurture recovery. That doesn't nurture a healthy recovery. It just nurtures a revengeous, angry, resentful response to stuff that's gone away in the past. It's gone. It's over there. It's way over there. I want to share that with you today. I hope you learned something from this, because I'm going to tell you something. You're worth it. You really are. You're worth a great, big, happy, and free life off the booze and drugs. You really are, okay? My name is Terry G. This is an alcohol-free life channel where we learn to live sober one day at a time. You can take a second, please subscribe. Take another second and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. I'm just looking at my little poochie here, sunbathing. It's nice in Ottawa today. Okay, so God bless, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later, okay? Ciao for now. Bye-bye.